Welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Travel Alert. I'm Steve Glenn.
And I'm Paul Glenn.
Paul, this week we've got our top 10 list of the top things you must do before you head to the airport to travel to see Grandma this Christmas.
Yeah, the holidays are a crazy time, especially you've got airports that are filled with people that are not usually in an airport. So there's a lot of things that you can do to make it so that you can be in a better position than if you aren't prepared.
And here we go. Here's number one on the list. Download the airline app before you head to the airport. Check in online, and your life will be a lot easier.
Oh, it's so much simpler, especially if you don't have to check bags. I think that's one of the things is a lot of holiday travel are going to tend to be shorter trips. So if you can find a way to get it into that duffel bag and get it into the overhead, check in online, and you get to skip the lines at least at one part of the airport and go straight to security and get through. So, that's a great way to start your trip and minimize one of the headaches.
Number two on this week's list of the top 10 items you better do before you go to the airport for Christmas travel is make sure your TSA pre-check is on your boarding pass. There's nothing worse than going up to the line for security, finding out on your app or on your ticket that your TSA pre-check is not listed on there, and you have to go through that long line. So if you download the app, look on your boarding pass, and the boarding pass will have a little pre-check on it. If it doesn't, you need to go to the counter and make sure they add it before you head to security.
Yeah, there's nothing more frustrating. And actually, I was behind the guy in security line last week that after waiting in line to get to the front in the TSA pre-check, they recognized it wasn't on there, and they sent him back downstairs to the counter to get that put back on. So, you do that just during normal travel routines, it's frustrating enough. But you do it during holiday travel, and then you got to go stand in those lines again. It's going to just make you miserable.
Number three on this week's list of the top 10 items you better do before you head to the airport for Christmas travel is take an Uber or have a friend take you to the airport, because you got massive number of cars. All the parking spots are full, and the parking is expensive. Even at the Omaha airport, it's $22 a day. Stay for 10 days, $220 for parking. I guarantee you can get an Uber to the airport a lot cheaper than that.
Well, I think it's nice then. Just one less thing you have to worry about coming back and having your car covered in snow, or we've had instances where a thunderstorm rolls through and windows are busted out. So just minimize one additional potential headache.
The item number four on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler, which is sponsored by Executive Travel, is arrive at the airport at least 2 hours early, as lines will be long. And as you said, Paul, a lot of the people in those lines aren't used to being in those lines, don't know where they're going, don't know what they can have in their pockets or can't have in their pockets, in their luggage, and it just takes forever. So arrive, I say 2 hours early around the Christmas. And if you're going international and you have to go through that, some people recommend 3 hours. I don't think I've ever arrived at an airport 3 hours early, but 2 hours, especially with the long lines, especially if you're parking, you probably ought to look at 2 hours in advance.
I think it's one of those where just due to the circumstances and to minimize those frustrations, I think the greatest reality that comes to my mind during holiday travel is the number of inexperienced travelers. So, the other key is having the right mindset when you get to the airport so that you're prepared for whatever that is going to look like, the many unknowns of how that flow is going to go.
Item number 5 on this week's Weekly Travel Alert of the top 10 items you must do before you head to the airport this Christmas is take only carry-on luggage. Now, when I say that, Paul, some women are going to have a heart attack, okay? Because they got to have like 3 bags and take 22 pairs of shoes. And so some guys are like that too. But the point is, if you do a carry-on, you don't have to check in anything. You can go right through security. You can put it up in the luggage compartment, and life is easy and travel is much easier. So I usually travel with just carry-on luggage, And you imagine, even if you're staying a week or two, you can do laundry.
That is the thing that many people don't think about, especially with how many leisure travelers are now traveling, is, if you're traveling to see family, it's likely you're going to be visiting in somebody's house, whether you're staying in that house or not. So, think about the opportunities for being able to utilize their washing machines if necessary. So, yeah, there are things that we historically haven't put into our thought process as we pack and get ready for a trip like holiday travel, but this is a great opportunity to minimize what it is that you're going to take and utilize, friends, family, or, even the hotels. Sometimes it'll save you time and energy. And if you don't have status, and so you're going to have to pay to check a bag, then it could cost less for you to have the hotel do the laundry for you than to overpack and have to check that bag.
50 or 75 bucks for that check bag twice. You got to take it there and then bring it back. So you're right, Paul. You can save a lot of money just by doing a little bit of laundry yourself, which you're going to do when you get home anyway. So number 6 in this week's weekly travel alert reads, take a picture of your checked luggage. If you're going to check your luggage, take a picture of it, have it on your phone. So guess what? If it's lost and they say, what does your luggage look like? And if you're like me, I can't describe my luggage. It's just my luggage. You can show them a picture, and it makes it easy. Let's hope you don't lose your luggage. And most people don't lose their luggage, but it's one safety valve.
We had it happen coming back from Italy last week. The gentleman that was traveling with me that I picked up and took to the airport. Then we got back, and I said, hey, well, can you go grab my bag? It would have been nice if I would have had a picture that I could have just shot him a text message of what my bag looked like. But then, unfortunately, I go pull the car around, and his bag did not show up. So he went through exactly what you mentioned there, where what does it look like, and do you have all the tracking information? So the nice thing is at least with some of the airlines, and going back to your number 1, if they've got your information, they will shoot you text messages now, so you can track your bags and do some of that. So they are utilizing some technologies to make keeping tabs of your bag easier, but being able to track your bag only to figure out instead of making it to Omaha, it's in Flint, Michigan, doesn't really make it that better.
Doesn't make it any better. I'm going to actually give you a bonus right now, Paul, that I didn't write down in my weekly traveler, but it reminded me of another thing you should always take a picture of, and that's your parking stall. If you drive to the airport, if you're like me, you can't remember, did I stay in the 3rd level, the 5th level, and what I do is take a picture of my car and the parking stall number, so I know when I come back, where in the world did I park a week later, and I can easily go to my phone and find out where my car is.
Yeah, there's just too much going through your mind. When you get to the airport, you're thinking about, do I have everything I need? Now where do I need to go? What are all the kids with me? Or do we have a Home Alone moment going into the holidays?
Home Alone, here we go.
So yeah, I think that's one of those ideas, and you've been saying that for a couple of years, and I've started doing it, especially Omaha. You mentioned the Omaha airport, as they have expanded and now have multiple terminals of their parking lot. It's very easy to get confused. So that is a great bonus, and I'm sure it will be appreciated by many this holiday.
Number 7 on this week's list of the top 10 items you should do before you head to the airport for Christmas reads, get on the plane early. Guess what? The planes are going to be full. The overhead bins are going to be packed. If you get on early, you can get your luggage, your carry-on, into those overhead bins, generally speaking. If you're the last one on, they're going to say, sorry, you got to gate check it, and you'll have to wait for that connecting flight and get your luggage and go from there. So if you can, get on the plane early. It'll save you a lot of headaches.
And I just want to toss something else in there that also ties back to the check-in online beforehand. Is on some of these, I fly out of Lincoln quite often, and smaller airplanes in a smaller airport. I actually had a flight within the last couple of weeks where they had to remove people from the flight because of the wait.
Wow.
So I think that's another thing is
I'm in trouble, aren't I?
Get in and get early. Well, when people are traveling with gifts, that only compounds it. The flight's being full, people traveling with excess, I think that's another reason you want to make sure you get on that plane early, because what they were doing, they were offering $1,000 credit per person to take the next flight. So they were making a significant offering, but it's another complexity that you don't want to have to deal with when you're traveling, regarding having to figure out, okay, what's my plan B?
Item number 8 on this week's list of the top 10 things you should do before you head to the airport for Christmas travel reads scan or photograph your passport, driver's license, and credit cards. And what happens when you lose your wallet or you lose your passport or whatever? If you've got your phone and you've got photos of it, then you know at least who to call with the banks to tell them you've lost your credit cards or whatever. So that's what I do now is I actually keep a photo of my credit cards and my driver's license, my passport, so I can easily access all that. And that's it served me well.
Yeah, well, you hope you never have that situation. And the other thing to also do with that, and that could not necessarily make the situation any better, but with all the opportunities to make electronic payments, have those credit cards also stored in your phone. So if you do lose that wallet, you can still go and access things.
So your Apple Pay.
Use your Apple Pay or whatever it may be to go get that meal. So you're not just lost without your wallet, but you're also not starving as well.
Item number 9 on this week's weekly travel alert for the top 10 things you do before you go to the airport reads charge your phone and all your electronics, plus bring along a charging battery. Because guess what, folks? You need your phone when you're traveling. You need it for your boarding pass. You need it for other things. And all the charging stations, when the airport's full, all the charging stations are used, right?
Or they don't work.
Or they don't work half the time. So if you bring your own little battery charger and you use your phone for 4 hours as you're waiting for a delayed flight, then you can always charge your phone easily. You can also charge it during the flight, which I find myself doing a lot if I can't use the charger on the airplane or they don't have one. So charge up those phones, your computers, and carry along a battery.
Well, and I think, the other side of that, and as much as I wish I didn't have to go down this path, is one where if I am checking a bag and they ask if I want to have my boarding passes printed, I always take advantage of that and say, if I'm here, I may as well have them, because what if my phone gets lost? What if? So there'd be another piece to that is go ahead and if you're having to check that bag, have them print off those boarding passes so that you've got a plan B should something go awry with your phone.
Ladies and gentlemen, item number 10 on this week's list of the top 10 items you should do before you head to the airport this Christmas reads, leave your laptop at home. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Christmas. This is the holiday. You can take a break from your business. You don't have to take a laptop. Obviously, you're going to take your cell phone. But if you can, leave that laptop at home and take a little bit of break this Christmas.
I struggle with this one because I can't go anywhere without that laptop when I'm in the airport. But it does make life simpler. It makes it easier to be able to disconnect. But I think this is one where ideally, that'd be the perfect world. But it just doesn't work for some of us.
I have 2 bonus items for us this week, Paul. Bonus item number 1 reads, please, please, please do not wrap your Christmas presents if you're flying with them. Because guess what? The first thing that security will do when you try to pass it through the scanner, they're going to say, what's in there? And I want to take a look. They'll unwrap your Christmas presents. So all that time you took, you're better off taking your presents and taking the wrapping paper with you and then wrapping them once you arrive.
I'm pretty sure there's a Walgreens around every corner in America that you can go buy the wrapping paper once you get there as well.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of people horrified when they see the security going through their presents. The second bonus item for this week's Weekly Traveler reads, take a big dose of patience with you. Paul, they're going to have the biggest crowds of the year. They're going to have, as you mentioned, all the people that never travel, okay? And they're going to have all the kids of all the people that never travel. So all the families are there. The kids are anxious. The parents are anxious. They don't know what to do next. So it takes a lot of time. You got to just prepare. Go early. Don't rush. Assume the worst. And take a deep breath and you'll get through it.
I think the second side to that is we're in the time of year where weather can go awry. And it's a great opportunity if you have that mindset of patience, recognize that anything that would happen weather-wise is beyond the control of anybody that you're going to be working with in your travels. So it's not the gate agent's fault. It's not the flight attendant's fault. It's not the pilot's fault. It's not the person sitting in the seat next to you. And many times that's what we see is frustration levels, they mount when you get a lot of the circumstances that could potentially come from travel over the holidays. Just take a deep breath, go with the flow. Ultimately, why you're traveling is to go spend time with friends and family and loved ones and to relax and make memories. So don't let air travel ruin that whole experience, not just for you, but for your family, for your friends, and for all those around you. So go in with the outlook of what that end goal is, which is to make positive memories that you can take with you for a lifetime.
And Paul, before we go this week, I got to have a procrastinator's alert. If you're like me and you're always the last one to buy presents for your family, the best gift you can buy, Paul, is the gift of travel. And we can make it very easy for you at Executive Travel. If you call 402-435-8888, we can put gift certificates together. And what's better, to find an old tie around the Christmas tree or to find a gift certificate that lets them go to Tahiti, Hawaii, it's Italy, or anywhere around the world? Ladies and gentlemen, think about giving a travel gift certificate this Christmas. You'll find out it'll be probably the most appreciated gift that they have under the tree.
Nope, I think that's a great opportunity, is going back to making those memories. Travel is one of those things that when somebody has that experience, they come back and that's all they talk about for weeks. That's all for the last 3 days. I've been talking about the trip last week to Italy and how much fun we had. And I was traveling with half of the people that I had never met before we started this trip, and new friendships that were made. So, what travel brings is something that nothing else can deliver.
And these last 10 days of December, I also want to warn people that if you're like you and I, and we have elite status in airlines and hotel programs, you better check those right now. Make sure you've hit those elite status areas. I remember you even taking an airline run once because you needed to add another $1,000 or 1,000 miles to your status. And so now's a good time to double check that. Make sure you've hit your status. I just hit my 1K last week when I came back from Italy. So thank goodness I don't have to worry about that. But how about yourself?
Yeah, no, I'm good there, but I actually wish you wouldn't push that out because in selfishness, I don't want everybody else to hit it because then that gives greater opportunities for those of us that have. So, no, but it is something where, that actually, it's a great point for another reason, which is you are going to have people traveling over the holidays that is what they're doing.
Right.
And they are likely the guys that are on the road all the time, and they are going to be the ones that are going to be very impatient with the non-regular travelers. So it's a weird combination that happens those last 2 weeks where you've got the once a year travelers and you've got the twice a month or more travelers that are all trying to get on those airplanes, and they have totally different mindsets as to what they're trying to do. So if you are one of those guys that's doing that type of travel, I would just ask one more time that you get your patience on and you put your kindness hat on, recognizing that you're traveling with people that aren't the people that are in the airport with you 99% of the time.
Yeah, let's make sure we, this holiday season, use the terms please and thank you, because you can imagine if you're an airline counter rep, oh my goodness, the words that get spoken to them. And same with security. I always make sure I thank the TSA people for keeping me safe and secure. And so let's make sure we give everybody those two kind words of please and thank you. So with that, thanks for joining us on this week's edition of the Weekly Travel Alert. Paul, next week is Christmas, and we've got between Christmas and New Year's, we're going to take a break, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to do a podcast next week because many of us are off celebrating the holiday spirit and this holiday season. We want to thank you very much. This has been a great year for Executive Travel, our team, a wonderful team. We want to thank each and every one of them and their families, because we're really a family business around here, and families mean a lot to us. And we want to thank everyone, as well as God has really blessed us and our families, and we're very thankful for that, and looking forward to coming back and presenting our first podcast in the new year, which will be coming out with the top predictions, my annual top predictions for 2024 for the travel industry, with the airlines, hotels, the car rentals, you name it. We're going to predict what's going to happen, and you won't want to miss that.
Oh, it's always fun. We always get a lot of comments on your predictions, so it'll be exciting to do it in a video format for the first time.
Yeah.
So it's always been done and done over many weeks through the newsletter. So this will be fun and exciting. But so with that, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone. Thank you again for joining us. Please like, subscribe, share, and add any comments or questions below so we can hit the topics that you want to in future episodes. Thank you for joining us. We will see you in the new year.